Hello everyone, Maryann here from Revealing Light, Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality, wherever you are in the world. When you're watching, a huge shout out to you. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. They all matter and they help the channel go further. Also to those who have sent me gifts of various sorts of gifts. I really do feel nurtured. I think I left someone off the other day who sent me some mind, body and soul cream for my arthritis cream for my hands, or pain cream for my hands. So truly you are extremely thoughtful. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get started. The big news today, of course, is that Trump has sent in the National Guard to LA against the governor's wishes. There are a number of moving pieces in this at the moment. Early reports were that he had invoked the Insurrection Act. No, and I think Australia's news this morning was still reporting that, but he has, as I understand it, moved a section of the Armed Forces, invoked a section of the Armed Forces Act, the Department of Defence Security for the protection of Department Homeland Security functions. The memorandum purports to invoke 10 USC and 12406. Now, before we get hung up in the detail, he has deployed the National Guard to LA without the permission or support of the governor of California. Now, let that sink in. Let that sink in. So there is Governor Newsom has sent a letter to the president, and he is questioning the legality of this under the particular section that he has used, because section 12406 of this act further states that orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of the states. He hasn't done that. So this is likely now, good on Governor Newsom for pushing back. This is likely to go now up through the appeals courts and I guess eventually to SCOTUS. Though SCOTUS goes into recession normally late June, early July. One would hope that this matter, urgent matter, would be heard before then. But it's likely now to go up through the appeal courts, the courts and the appeal courts if needed, process. So right now, or earlier today, there were thousands and thousands, tens of thousands were peacefully protesting in Los Angeles. If he can get away with doing this, and again, I think the purpose of this is to test the law and see how, get it by time, do whatever he does illegally, and then, get a rap over the knuckles, and then take some time to implement the order, and eventually he would do it. But he would do it in a way that's even more nastier. So it's a very serious matter right now. The ICE raids, there are January the 6th insurrectionists who have been employed by ICE. They all wear masks. You know it better than what I do. You've seen these people in operation. They are arresting tourists in New York. One particular tourist from Chile was touring the New York City sites with her 12-year-old daughter. They manhandled her, arrested her, and left the 12-year-old unattended in New York City. I don't know how the FIFA Cup and the Olympics go ahead under these circumstances. They have Trump's travel bans have given an out in saying that anyone who's coming here for the World Cup and the Olympics, any athletes, are exempt from these travel bans. But that same exemption hasn't been given to fans, to the public. So we'll see how this will impact on attendance at both those massive sporting events. So I want to see, first of all, will the courts rule he sent the guard in illegally to California? I do want to remind you of the astrology reading that I did about a week and a half ago. If you haven't seen it, please go and have a look at it. I looked at Trump's chart toward the end of the video. I think I said Trump's astrology in the headline. And I talked about his Mars, transiting Mars, coming down and becoming conjunct with his natal Mars. And I said June is a month is going to be where he can be quite dangerous. And then as Mars comes down into his ascent, into Virgo, we will start to see, details emerging of his illegality. And by September, we have a shift again in some critical way, whether it's tariffs or not being allowed to deploy the National Guard in the fashion that he's done, fascist fashion that he has done. Somehow we get to September and there's a bit of a reprieve, a bit of a shift. We also have the Musk-Trump issue flaming. Musk is becoming covert about the way he's undermining Trump, which is, a good strategy from Musk. But we will see. We'll see how that is playing out and whether or not Musk and other business people in America will actively try to have Trump removed. And of course, if you look back on my last videos, there's already a plotting going on. California has talked about withholding its taxes, not sending them to the federal government. And that's something that I predicted around December of last year, that more and more states would talk about this. And California was the one that I thought might move secession a little bit further along. I got fairly pilloried on that, but I put it out there that this is something that Californians are thinking about. Some, not all, are thinking about in this era of Trump. Will Musk and Trump reconcile? Is Musk working behind the scenes against Trump? That's going to be an interesting question. We talked a lot about Trump's meme coin grift. It's a coin that once purchased is not tradable. About 40% of Trump's income now comes from his crypto business. So let me just turn this off for a minute. Did Egypt buy Trump's meme coins using any of the $2 billion aid that American taxpayers send him, that US taxpayers send him? We'll ask that question directly. What decks am I using? The Golden Tarot, for those that do want to see what decks I'm using. We're going to do a Kipper reading on either Musk or Trump or both of them. And then I'm using also the Mary Hanson Roberts mini Rider-Waite Tarot to clarify as needed. The Kipper that I'm using is Cairo Marchetti's Kipper. All right, having said all of that, I've just finished my Earl Grey tea. Let's get started with today's reading. Yes, it is very, very cold here in Australia, or in my state, in New South Wales, southeastern New South Wales. And we've got snowfalls everywhere, and so it is quite cold. Okay, let's get started. The big thing is that currently the protests are peaceful, and I should add that the LAPD wrote in a letter that Mayor Bass has released. The LA mayor has released, saying that all protests were peaceful. So why was the National Guard sent in to quell a rebellion or a migrant immigrant invasion? Yeah. Why is Trump doing this? I think we can all use our intuition here and say he's trying to deflect from Musk's allegation that he's right there in the Epstein report. All right. And that's why they're not releasing the files. All right, so let's have a look. Will the courts rule that Trump has sent in the National Guard illegally to LA? Will the courts rule that Trump has sent The National Guard in illegally. Will the courts rule, please, Spirit, that Trump has sent in? Yeah, I think it's an overreach of his authority. He's on his throne and he's crushing. He's stepping on people. I think it's Spirit is saying he's inflaming, obviously, things, because I'm seeing a lot of water here, emotion, and it's a rapid thing as well. Will the courts rule? Trump has sent in the National Guard illegally. Okay, it's a show of his force. So we've got a crossroads here. A crossroads, goodness. And then we've got homes, families, celebrations. This is sucking the life out of everyone. It's a terrible chapter. We get an inevitability, a judgment, which is at the foundation of this reading, which tells me it's a very strong karmic card that is at the foundation of the reading, and it's sort of telling me I don't really need to go any further. I will, but it's obvious that he's abused his power. The Lovers, this everything is always, whether it's about Musk or Trump or other MAGA politicians, everything is always an appeal, pardon me, to his base. All right, in the sky we've got the Knight of Truth. Okay, so the Knight of Swords is the deployment. I think 300 were on the ground. Last news story I saw, and more are expected to arrive. Some waiting for one ship to come in. I think there's a little bit of a wait here for the court for it to wind its way through the courts, but it's looking fairly positive. So we get restriction, paranoia here in the present, and it's surrounded by retreat. Yeah, it's a big mistake, and that's what the astrology reading that I did said, that by the time we move down through June, July, August, through this madness, it's a gross misstep here. We get the Empress card, which is abundance. It's also my card for Russia. I think California isn't going to give up until they get their justice here. And then we get the King of Swords, prosecution, objectivity, the courts, the law. And then we get 3 cups lost, 1 cup remaining. And then the Devil, toxicity. Tarot cards are interesting, aren't they? How many times does this Devil come up? Whenever I read on the United States at the moment, I get or Trump or the Trump government or anything that's being done. It's the Devil card and being chained to the Devil. Toxicity and again the Eight of Pentacles. So he's testing the courts. The outcome card was the King of Swords, clarified by the Minor Arcana Death card. I do want to say, if you're protesting, be very, very careful. Clairvoyantly, when I started this reading, I saw someone holding a young girl in their arms who'd been hurt in some way, whether it's the migrant roundup, but it's like a father or a parent. Father, it was a male, despairing at the hurt that's been done to either his child or his wife or a female. So I do want to say, please be careful. Don't give him what he wants. Governor Newsom is asking that. It seems to me that the Eight of Pentacles always coming with the Devil is very suggestive as somebody who's allowing his greed, his emotions, his ego, his narcissism, whatever, to get in the way. And as a result, there's a somebody who's learning, like who's not fully competent on the job. This is also pointing to the reality TV show, The Apprentice. We have the stability and sustainability card, and we have downturn. And again, these cards come up to, by the time we get to September, the economy is very much in free fall, and people are paying such high prices, obviously. Who pays the tariffs? The consumers. So it is the economy that will break through all of this and reach every quarter of American society, of society in the United States, to show there is no escape from his poor leadership. I mean, what sort of a leader does this in a democratic society? Not just sending in the National Guard, but everything that he has done, hurting businesses, threatening his own business, like American businesses. And this is why we look on and we see this, but there is so much mayhem behind the scenes, and we shouldn't underestimate that. Okay, will there be violence in LA? I just hope between the citizens and the National Guard. Imagine if you're a National Guard, you've sworn an oath to protect citizens, American citizens, US citizens. Like, how would you feel? Okay, so will there be further violence? Not further. Will there be... anything that I saw was mainly smoke bombs and pellets being fired at people. The only thing I saw was someone standing in front of a car, and the car actually ran over him. I didn't see any violence. Okay, so will there be violence in LA between the Guard and the citizens, the protesters and the citizens? So we get... if one plan doesn't work, another is executed, and then we get that minor arcana death card. We have the King of Pentacles at the foundation of the reading. We have the death card, the end of something in the past. We get I wonder if someone has actually died because of his actions already, whether it's a migrant. It's a vibe of death. We have change, the Wheel of Fortune. We have 3 cups lost and 1 remaining. I'm seeing that the protesters hold firm. The truth is there for all to see. We have loss, walking away from what no longer serves us. We have defending oneself in the hopes and fears. And then we get the 10 of Swords, complete and utter ending of something. And then the Knight of Cups. I think the protesters... unite in a way not to give Trump the violence that he so desperately craves. We get a deal being done, and we get families, reunifications, Magician card. No, I think it's going to be okay, but I'm more concerned about the actual people he's arresting. Anyway, that's what I get. It's undermining the economy again in subtle and not so subtle ways. And national security as well. Dictators would be looking upon what's going on in the US and just gleefully smiling at the turmoil and the instability, I should say. Okay, will he deploy the Guard to other states? What happened to states' rights now? You know... MAGA extremists are extremely cruel. You know, deporting numbers under Obama and Biden were very high, and not done with this kind of violence and undermining of state rights. So it seems like it's okay to undermine California states' rights, not okay to undermine a red state's rights. And you'll find this kind of hypocrisy goes right through their populism. It's weak and pathetic. All right, so will he deploy the National Guard to other states? Will he deploy the National Guard to other states? This is, way up his alley. This is exactly what he wanted. So we have the 3 of Cups, Circles of Support, and then Heartbreak and Betrayal. We get the new starts here. Whatever he does is leading to big changes in the US in the future. The Death card, the end, is there in the past. We get the Page of Swords. It's potentially yes. yes, he has a plan. He has a secret plan here that we don't know about yet. This is part of a plan that has already been formulated. The Chariot card, things moving very, very serious, quickly, getting out of control. The Knight of Wands, people resisting this. The hopes and fears, the Ace of Pentacles, that's interesting. And then we get the Ten of Cups, families, voters, the Queen of Pentacles. Unfortunately, these are all yes cards. And then we get loss, walking away from what no longer serves him. He will be stopped in the court, by the courts, but he's going to do this again before this is through. This is, again, testing his authority, as he did with deporting asylum seekers without due process, as he has done, deporting people on working visas or tourist visas or arresting them. This is about pushing things as far as he can. So what is this High Priestess? What is this High Priestess here? What are they? They have plans drawn up. And I guess the big one, will he invoke the insurrectional acts? So what is the High Priestess here? What is the High Priestess here? I see him on the throne, and he's not looking well, or I think he feels a real sense of isolation. He's polishing up his cup. Somebody's, again, pushing him. Those around him, those extremists in his government are pushing him in certain ways. Let's see. What is this High Priestess? What is this High Priestess here? Why? What else are they planning? Victory and the Wheel of Fortune change. They're planning for victory, and they're wanting to change the system. The Lovers card, relationships, the cult, MAGA. They're wanting to affect great change. I mean, I know that sounds trite when I say it, but here we have the World card in the past, the endings of major cycles. We have here retreat and wounded in battle, retreat. So it's not going to work. Well, potentially it's not going to work. They have a plan that they're going to execute in relation to this question. The Nine of Pentacles, that's money, and the Knight of Pentacles, stability. The stability of the economy is here as well. Again, I don't know how, but this is destabilizing the economy even more. So whatever they're doing, it's a crossroads in the hopes and fears. And we have the Justice card. Okay. The secret plan is to take it all the way through the courts to the High Court and increase presidential authority. That's what it is. Volatility. It's not going to work, by the way. And the Queen of Cups, nurturing self-care. Pardon me. Okay, and the Magician. Pardon me. This is just an ongoing. I have LPR, laryngeal reflux, and when I talk a lot, I can start to cough. But that's coupled with the weather. Some days are better than others. Okay, so it looks like the plan is to test the legal system to increase presidential authority, and you should expect that is the underlying aim. It's like chipping away, whittling it down. First of all, abusing it, and then it's answered back, and then it goes through the courts in much the same way as birthright, trying to overturn birthright citizenship. Okay, so Will this affect the World Cup? Well, what he's doing affect the World Cup and the Olympic attendances. Will this affect the World Cup attendances? So I see someone pulling a sheet over something, almost like they're closing down some events. I don't know. Will this affect attendance to the World Cup and the Olympics in LA? I think it has to. Certainly going to affect the economies. Broken-hearted. Yeah. What it does, it will affect the bottom line, the profits. We have here the Three of Pentacles. Also, the building of facilities or the usage of facilities, taking away from that. There he is in the background, the King of Pentacles. And then we have Three Cups lost, the Minor Arcana Death card. That's in the sky. Yeah, it is going to affect the ability, the stability of these events. Absolutely. People are too... Investors, I don't know. It's the whole thing. It's the whole money and hype around both these events. There's an extreme amount of worry, restriction, people holding back on investment. Now, in the hopes and fears, we get suspension, and then we get the Ace of Cups. Yes, overflowing emotion, a deal being done. They're going to have to scramble. Okay, they're going to have to scramble at the last minute, I think. This is a disaster waiting to happen, because it looks like whatever investment there is, however the Olympics or the World Cup, draw money in, this is going to be impacted. And we have the High Priestess. There's a money shortage here, and then we get endings, new beginning, that World card, and then we get victory. Boundaries, okay. Everything and judgment and inevitability that it will. They're going to, it is going to affect attendance. People don't want to come. They're worried about being treated in the images that we're seeing, treated in the same way as those people just taken off the hand, shackled and frog marched off the streets, being incarcerated. This is going to... He'll get a warning soon from investors or people that are responsible for the money here that fund these events. Projections of budgets not being met and recouping money. However, it's people not investing, not coming. It's again a mess. Okay, I want to see now Governor Newsom. Why else is California in the firing line? It's a Democratic state with a Democratic governor who's looking to run for the presidency in 2028. I have to take this off now. It's becoming too warm. All right, so will California... I said it was one of those states that may be pursuing secession, and I think that's on people's minds a lot more now. Okay, so will California ever, or any other state ever, Maine threaten to do the same? Will California or any other state withhold taxes from the federal government? In other words, if they're not getting any federal services, why would they send taxes to the federal government? So, will California or any other states... That could be what that whole financial stuff was in those spreads as well. Whoa. Things are going to get pretty serious, I think, in California. So, will California ever withhold those taxes from the federal government or any other state? Seems like there's a collective block action coming up. So we have here a learning thing. Just as Trump is pushing the system, people are finding out what they can and can't do, and we have walking away from loss. The Eight of Pentacles and walking away from loss. There's a lot of... California is the world's, fourth largest economy? That money is at the bottom of this. We have lies and deceit in the past. Five of Pentacles, being locked out. I think he might go ahead with threatening withdrawal of those services. It's an inevitability. Okay, the next question has to be around civil war, succession, wish fulfillment, and the Hierophant, the court, the Supreme Court. Again, this is so many legal state versus federal cases going to the Supreme Court. The Queen of Wands, there's a real movement now for this to occur. Something that comes to fruition in time. So it may not be this year, but before this is through, the King of Cups. He is not the King of Cups. In fact, he is trying to polish up his cup. It's lost. He has no cup. If you look at Trump as the King of Cups, he's got no cup, meaning he's got no wisdom. Something coming to fruition in time. It looks like they are. That this will go all the way. We get sabotage, abuse of power, suspending something, the high levels of emotion, manifestation. They're looking at ways right now to do it. Isolation, and then we get victory here. Not everybody is going to want to see how far this is going to go, but I think in today's energy, California will take it all the way, and other states as well, because I think these are block actions. You can expect state versus federal government to ramp up, to become, I know they're already serious, but this is the reality. This is the reality. States are going to look to break away from the federal government. So is Trump creating a climate for a civil war in the United States? Is Trump creating a climate for civil war in the United States? He's trying to get in. So he's trying again to make inroads into democratic states. This is about power and control. In front of elections, I might add too. Is Trump trying to create a civil war in the United States? Is he wanting to create a civil war in the United States? Which would mean breaking up the United States. Okay, so a lot of anxiety around this question. I'm sorry. And a lot of loss. There are no winners here. Disappointment. 3 cups lost, 1 remaining. This is the current mood. He's in the past. That's good, he's in the past. Something coming to fruition in time. We have his plans in some way are not going to succeed. Why? The light of truth and awareness shines on. We have a plan here. 2 aces. This isn't going to result in a war. It's just going to result in so much pushback. The Supreme Court is in the hopes and fears. And then we get the past here. He, not so much civil war, but he wants things to return to the good old McCarthy days, the good old 1950s. Queen of Swords, victory. And no, it's the courts that will sort this out. It's not going to end in a civil war, although I do feel some states are going to withhold money from the federal government. I feel that's going to happen. Now, I do want to, I'll do a, oh God, will he invoke the Insurrection Act? Will he invoke the Insurrection Act? They didn't at this time. I read in the past that he wasn't going to. They were talking about it, but he wasn't going to. Has that changed? Will he invoke the Insurrection Act? Will he invoke forcibly invoke the Insurrection Act? Will he invoke the Insurrection Act? Last time it was done in 1992, President Bush. Okay, so we get the Magician and we get the Star. So there's hope here, hope in this whole situation. I don't want you to despair. The King of Cups, the King of Wands, Congress. Does he need Congress's permission? Because he won't have it. Stability, that's in the past. Financial stability is in the past. There are powerful interests stopping him. Restriction. He would want to. Illusion, delusion, deluded. There's a reason why, boundaries, there's a reason why he hasn't done so. The Queen of Cups, the loans, debts, there's something here. Abuse of power. He'd rather abuse his power. The King of Pentacles. And then the Queen of Swords, objectivity, the law. He doesn't have enough... he's worried that he doesn't have enough votes on the Supreme Court. The Page of Wands. He might talk about it, but we also have something coming to fruition in time, and the moon, the volatility. Right now, if he did it, I don't know. Does he have the authority? Someone tell me whether he needs Congress authority. He's not doing it right now because there aren't certain enough circumstances to support the use of it. I don't know. It seems like he can't at the moment. He would if he could, but he can't at the moment. Imagine investment in the US economy with martial law declared. Imagine what investors would do. It's sort of like a financial reason, financial considerations. Goodness gracious, I'm so pleased to see that he's thwarted at every turn. Okay, I just want to do the Egypt stuff and then I'll do some a quick, I think, a kipper on Musk. Okay, did Egypt buy Trump's meme coin with some of the $2 billion assistance package it was given? It's given every, every year or every budget cycle? $2 billion. Has Egypt bought Trump's meme coin? Can you show me clearly? There's money passing hands. Has Egypt also donations he's taking for things like, I don't know, the ballroom, other things, sponsorships. That's also another way of I don't know, because I see somebody handing him a paintbrush. Okay, so construction projects, or is this money going into his construction projects? Has Egypt donated to his meme coin? That would be what it is. Has Egypt donated to his meme coin? Wheel of Fortune and the Emperor, the President. The President's very fortunate. The truth will emerge on this. There has been that $10 million in the past, in 2016. Perhaps there are donations here. Yep, foreign investment. There's a bombshell. This is waiting to come out. Mainstream media proprietors, not the journalists. Why have you got a news outlet if you are stopping journalists from doing their work? Boundaries, the loss of boundaries. This is a very important question. The law is in the hopes and fears and prosecution, and then we get withholding information. We have the Empress card, abundance. There's a lot of wealth here being created. Somebody's going to let something out of the bag. I think this is information likely to come through in 2026 if the Democrats get the House. Okay, have they? Yes, they have. They have. Okay. It's the meme coin is funding his construction. Allegedly, this is a tarot reading for entertainment purposes only. So the paintbrush being given to him is helping the Trump org construct the buildings, the high-rises in various places across the world. It's funding his construction. Okay. Some of it, the meme coin is. All right. One last yes, no. Will Trump and Musk reconcile? Will Trump and Musk reconcile? We might leave the Kipper for another day. Will Trump and Musk reconcile? I'll do a Kipper and we'll look at astrology of both of them, I think. Will Trump and Musk reconcile? Queen of Pentacles. The Four of Wands. The 10 of Rods. Isolation in the past. The Tower card. I don't think so. 3 of Cups. Circles of support. And we have Russia here. Russia's offering Musk asylum. Russia's somehow here defending oneself. Judgment and inevitability is around this question, and we get a no. Sabotage. Here's finances. Both of them are going to try and justice. The past. Justice for the past. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy. You don't have to want to see Musk win. You just want to see him defeat or hurt. Say hurt. You want to see him in some way stop Donald Trump, stop the monster that he created. Now, Musk would only do that for his own gain. Seems like someone's sabotaging someone's money. It looks like there's going to be protracted court cases. This is going to get really nasty. I think Trump is going to do something to Musk financially. I do feel also that Musk has some sort of information on Trump, and we get lies. A lie that he's something around, as I said, his campaign finances. Musk also is actively plotting behind the scenes. So both of them are plotting against one another. Someone has financial information on them that they're going to be using in some way. And we get the Tower card, which is a potential breaking down, could even take down the presidency. So we'll see what's going to happen there. I'll do those Kipper readings later on. Any of my viewers in LA, I know you're going to be peaceful, but stay out of harm's way as well, because in every protest there could be people placed there to cause trouble, which is what we saw in 2020. Was it? No, not 2020, 2019, the George Floyd protests. You had spies, agitators, then trying to pose as protesters and make it look worse than what it is. So please stay safe, everyone. Bye for now.